So in this lecture, we want to save this order to Firebase. Here in place order method, I'm going to create an order object and set a few properties. So date placed, we set this to the current date time. So new date, get time. I'm also going to set the shipping information to this.shipping. Now we should also add all the products that we have in the shopping cart. So first we need to inject our shopping cart service into this class. So constructor takes a shopping cart service of type shopping cart service. Now we implement the onInit interface. So we add ng onInit. And in this method, we read the shopping cart. Now here I need an actual shopping cart, not an observable, because I want to directly access the items in the shopping cart. So this, the shopping cart service, we call getCart, which returns a promise. So we await that and store the cart observable in this variable. This means we should make this method async. Now we can get the actual shopping cart by subscribing to this observable. So we get a cart and set this.cart. Okay, so let's define this field, cart of type shopping cart. Now in this case, because we have subscribed in ng onInit, we should also unsubscribe when the component is destroyed. So implements onDestroy. That means we should add ng onDestroy. Now we need a reference to our subscription. So let's define a field called subscription of type subscription. And we set that here. With this, we can go to our ng onDestroy method and call this.subscription.unsubscribe. Beautiful. So now we have our shopping cart. Back to our place order method. We need to set the items in this order. So items, I want to get the items in the shopping cart and map them to a new structure. Because here we don't want to set the order items to this.cart.items. Because these items are shopping cart items, not order items. Now in reality, order item and shopping cart item are very similar, but they have a tiny difference, and you're going to see that in a few minutes. So we need to get shopping cart items and map them to a new array. So we get each item and return an object with these properties. Now we have two choices. We can store them as properties of order item, or we can store all these properties under another property called product. Here it's perfectly fine to add a product property and encapsulate all the product related properties inside this object. Because here we don't have the same challenge that we had with our shopping carts. So you can see the structure of an order item doesn't necessarily look exactly like the structure of a shopping cart item. So under product, I'm going to store title. We set this to I, the title. I'm also going to store the image URL. So I.image URL, the unit price, and that's it. Now let's add the other properties of this order item object. So we have the product. We should also store the quantity. So quantity, we set that to I.quantity, and total price, which we set to I.total price. So here are all the properties we want to store in our order items. Now that we have an order object, we need to create a service to talk to Firebase. So open up the terminal and generate a service called order. Now first we need to go to app module and register this service as a provider. So right here, I'm going to add order service. Beautiful. Now let's go to our order service. So order service. Here we need to inject an Angular Fire database object. Now let's add store order, which takes an order object. Now currently we don't have an interface to annotate this parameter. We can always add that later. So let's move on with this task. Here all I want to do is call this .db .list, give it a location which is /orders, and simply call the push method and pass order as an argument. Now this returns a promise, so I'm going to return this to the outside because later we want to get the key of this new order and redirect the user to the order success page. So here's our order service. Now back to our component. I'm going to inject this service into the constructor. So private order service of type order service. And with this, we can go back to our place order method. We have an order object. Now we call this that order service dot store order and give it this order object. Let's test the application and see if this code is working or not. So currently I have 3 items in my shopping cart. I'm going to fill out this form. Line 1, line 2, and city, and then click place order. Now let's take a look at our Firebase database. So we can see we have this new order. Beautiful. Now look at the structure of this object. We have shipping. All the properties are set properly. Perfect. Look at items. Now here we have an array. In contrast, in our shopping cart, items is a map. It's not an array. So here's another case where an order can be different from a shopping cart. So here in the order, because we don't need to quickly look up a product by its ID, I decided to store these items in an array instead of a map. Okay, so let's expand one of these items. We've got product, so we have a hierarchy. Again, we don't have the constraints we had in our shopping carts. So these are the properties of a product. We've got the quantity and total price. So in shopping carts, we didn't store the total price in the database. That was calculated dynamically at runtime. But in orders, we store them here because we don't want to have any calculations here, because we just want to display all the data about an order like a report to the user. Once we have an order, nothing can be changed. That's it. Now this order object has a tiny problem. We don't know who has placed this order. Well, we do have the shipping information, but we don't have the ID of the user who placed this order. Later, we want to give our users the ability to see the orders they have placed. So in the next lecture, we're going to store the ID of the current user in this order object.